is now more than 400 days into the fight against COVID-19 pandemic here in Kenya. Several measures have been put into place, with some turning out successful while some have not. My name is Sada Hassan, and on this episode of Health Watch, we take a look at personal responsibility. What role do you play?
As of the 25th of May 2021, 3 SARS-CoV-2 genetic variants have been detected in the country. They are described as variants of concern, VOC, given their potential to impact on control efforts of COVID-19 pandemic.
The Kenyan COVID-19 curve shows a worrying trend. New infections are still being recorded daily, and the positivity rate is still fluctuating, far from hitting the magic target of below 5%, with the variants of concern worrying experts and citizens alike.
Emerging evidence indicates that the variants of concern are more transmissible, have a higher secondary attack rate, and spread faster among susceptible persons. The Indian variant has been reported to be 50% more transmissible than the UK variant.
Over the last few weeks, a rising curve has been observed in the country, with counties that were recording few numbers of new infections now on a reverse trend, their numbers sharply increasing. They are seemingly becoming new hotspots. But all does not fall within the government. Personal responsibility and discipline matters. For some, COVID-19 is a threat to our health, and as a result, they remain guarded.
Me and my friends, actually, I remind them every time tunafaa tuvae mask. Like sai tukitoka tukikuja town maambia no, hakuna kuweka mask chini, and then okay, kama ukiwa Nairobi ni ngumu sana kuto interact na watu, so you just keep your mask up, na tuna sanitize, tuko na sanitizers huko kwa bags, and yeah, tunapeana hiyo respect. Kama ni kwa gari, ukiambia usongea mtu namwambia hapana, government imekata. Yeah, so basically you just take care of yourself.
As an individual, I have to make sure I put on my mask, wash my hands every time like I visit those infectious areas, avoid crowded areas.
The measures that I've taken to prevent COVID-19 is wearing my mask, sanitizing, and if I don't have a sanitizer, at least I know I have access to water and soap.
First, I keep the distance. 2, I sanitize a lot. And 3, I use the mask. Yeah.
And the people around you?
The people around me, I encourage them to do the same. But you see, those people, some of them, most of them, usually they don't follow instructions. Yeah. They see it as a waste of time.
The measures we are taking, the measures that are already been given by the Ministry of Health, like putting on your mask when you are in public, and continue washing your hands with running water with soap, and keep social distance. Those are the same applies to family. Of course, you cannot keep social distance in the house, but I believe that once you are out of the house, everybody need to put on their mask and keep distance, and continue washing your hands at all the time.
For champions of creating awareness and educating the masses on taking caution during the COVID-19 pandemic, Dr. Janet Githinji, popularly known as Daktari wa Mtaa, says that through her program she has witnessed behavior change among her people.
A lot of these things that usually even happen to us, we might deem them simple, we might deem them, even maybe irrelevant or common sense, but that's not the situation. So there was room to start educating and informing people about coronavirus. There was also importance in breaking down medical jargon, because you'd hear heavy words, we'd hear heavy phrases where people are not sure what it is. So I started by breaking down from the word go, what is a case, what is an outbreak, what is an epidemic, what makes it a pandemic, what do we need to do? When we talk of let's flatten the curve, what does it mean? When we talk of waves, What is a wave? Unaona? So ilikuwa inasaidia sana tuweze kwanza kuelewa hii kitu ni nini na inasonga aje. Ndio sasa tuweze kujua vile tunaweza kujishughulikia.
How many times can one wear their mask? One Alphonse Macau says that the economy does not give him luxury to purchase new masks on a daily basis.
Natumia nafaa. Juu pesa ya kununua kila wakati hakuna.
Unatumia kama mara ngapi?
Kama siku 3. Alafu naweka, nachukua ingine, natumia siku 3 hivi, nikifua, nikipandirisha, maneno kama hiyo.
The surgical mask is supposed to be used only once. After that, you dispose it. And especially if you're going out there, it's very risky because you don't know who you came into contact with. So the very best thing to do after you've been out for your work, just drop it. Get another one. If you can't afford, it's even better to buy a cloth mask. It's better rather than keep on recycling one, because you know even the fact that you've touched it with your hands, you've exposed the masks, it's at risk. So I would advise such a person, just get a cloth mask. It's far much better. And then, as I've said, when you put on the masks for long hours, you find that you get fatigued, you get headaches, you feel dizzy, and at times it can even lead to loss of memory, because there are some people who say, like, you ask them the date, they can't even remember.
Yeah.
It's because the oxygen that is getting in is also limited. So if you can, when you get to a place where it's safe, that means home, where there is no infected person in the house, you can remove the mask. But when you're in public domains, when you're in the market, when you're at work, when you're out there interacting with the public, with people whom you don't know, it's safe to have your mask on.
Kenyans still have varying opinions.
I believe each and every household has a dustbin, and that's where we dispose them. It's a bit tricky to burn them, but burning would be the best ideal so far.
Ukiwa shule at least kuna bins za kurusha za kutupa maso ya tukua na disposal pits za kutupa.
I throw my mask in a dustbin.
As we experience fatigue, because when you're wearing that mask for 12 hours, you find that at times you experience dizziness, at times you feel fatigued, you experience headaches, and it just comes subconsciously that you just remove the mask and you're like, whatever happens. So when you do that, one, as you speak, there are droplets that usually come out of our mouths. And as they come out, the heavy ones, they land on the ground, but the little ones, they are left in the air. So anyone who comes into contact with that, as they inhale, it just goes directly to their system. But if you had a mask, then that would have been prevented.
According to the COVID-19 situation report, 3 waves have occurred in the country, with the latest one still lingering on easing its way into a 4th wave. The highest new infections were recorded in March this year. COVID-19 related deaths were also high in the same month. Nairobi County remains the epicenter of infections, with community transmission remaining high. This epicenter, however, is slowly shifting to the western end of Kenya: Kisumu, Siaya, Uasin Gishu, Busia, Homa Bay, Kisii, Kericho, and other neighboring counties. So far, more than 170,000 cases of COVID-19 have been recorded in the country, with more than 3,000 deaths reported. More men, at 61%, have been infected by COVID-19 compared to women, 39%. The fatality rate now lingers at 1.9%. Those showing symptoms have mainly cough at 55%, fever 37%, difficulty in breathing at 26%, and headache at 5%. Nyanza and Western Kenya regions have been of concern, with political gatherings, unwary Kenyans, relaxed leaders, and a seemingly back to normal business attitude. Without an atom of concern, by-elections paved way to throwing caution to the wind. Masks adorned by few and no social distancing.
Na tutachukua hatua kwa yeyote ambaye hatafuata yale ambaye tumekubaliana hapa, awe ni nani ama ni nani, tuasema maisha ya Wakenya kwanza.
Despite the president's warning of stringent measures on those defying measures put in place, not much has been put to effect. Public health specialists are now warning that we are heading to the wrong direction if we fail to take caution.
Every time we hear COVID, I'm sure hata unasikia kuzima TV. Hata utaki kusikia. Sasa unavanga mask, unaenda mahali peke yako, unatoa kwanza unapumua. You know, we miss breathing. We miss just interacting. We are a society that is very highly touchy-feely. You know, we shake hands, we hug, we talk, we congregate, you know, in weddings and in chamas and in baby showers and all these things. And in football, and, you know, everybody wants to somehow figure out how to go back to a normal life, or at least what we used to know as normal life. But we also know that the only way is if the curve goes down. So when we explained the concept of flattening the curve, people understood it. And how they understood it is that the only way for this curve to go down is if we continue adhering to the things that we were supposed to do. So masking up, sanitizing or washing our hands, keeping social distance, you know, avoiding social gatherings. We also see TV, so we've also known that many a times people have flouted that role in the name of political gatherings and whatnot, and it has cost us. But the only way is to still continue adhering to these guidelines, even as the vaccine is there.
Experts have warned that another COVID-19 wave is likely to pick up this month or July. But the government can only do so much. The bigger chunk of the work remains with us, you and I. Keep social distance, wash your hands or sanitize, and wear your mask. Sada Hassan, KTN News.